Okay, so thank you all for being here. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for being on your couch or chair or wherever you're at right now. So today I'll be talking about kind of InfiniteOpt and MathOptAI coming together and what's InfiniteMathOptAI and how this can be useful for basically taking machine learning models and putting them into optimization problems in chemical engineering. We often use these as surrogate models, which is where I have the word surrogate there. Okay, so machine learning models, to this audience, most of us probably know what this is, but in this context for optimization, there's kind of two paradigms that come up. The first is maybe you have some computationally intensive model, maybe like a CFD model or something like that, that is not practical to put in an optimization problem because it might take days for it to get, say, one simulation. So you can replace this with a faster evaluated ML model and have that embedded in its place as a surrogate. Or, which I think is a more compelling case, maybe your equations don't fully model your system and you want to use a data-driven model to fill in some of those gaps because you have data, but maybe not enough equations to do your model. So you have some sort of hybrid model or something like that. Okay, within this, of course, neural networks are a popular choice. They have this universal approximation theory. And many approaches have been proposed. I can't even hope to enumerate them all. I'm sure at the upcoming SIAM conference there's probably going to be hundreds of talks related to this idea. So go there. But to embed these in an optimization problem, the way I typically explain this is, people think I'm thinking about training the network. Typically we're talking about taking a trained network and putting it into an optimization problem because the neural network helps us make predictions, but we use optimization to try to prescribe the actions or the inputs to that neural network to get the outcomes that we're looking for, rather than guess and check. Okay, and this helps us kind of enlarge the group of models that we can solve and optimize. And of course, as we just saw in Chelsea's talk, ReLU networks are particularly nice because they can give us these piecewise linear representations, but of course you can use other activation functions as well. And there's been quite a few tools that have come out just within the last kind of 3 to 4 years or so. It's kind of been an explosion, including MathOptAI. Last year, Robbie gave a great talk on this, so I'm not going to spend more than one slide on talking about MathOptAI. If you want to learn more, I would encourage you to go back, maybe pause this video, go see Robbie's video first. That's up there in the corner. But basically what this does is helps us embed machine learning models into jump models. And it can take neural networks from a variety of languages, both in Julia and Python, Gaussian processes, decision trees, generalized linear models, and a number of other machine learning models. Okay, and it can embed these through a variety of representations, but I won't go through all of those today. Okay, the syntax is pretty nice. You just take your machine learning model, use this add predictor method to add it right in there. It does all the conversion for you, even gives you back the formulation if you want to kind of interrogate what variables and constraints it created. Also, last year after this talk, I talked to Oscar. I said, hey, Oscar, it'd be cool if we made the weights and the biases variables so we could even maybe train modest-sized neural networks within JUMP. Oscar said, sure. And I think it was like a few weeks later that we got this new feature to train neural networks as well using JUMP. Okay. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. So what about infinite dimensional optimization? My student already kind of introduced this again this morning, but basically the idea here is we want to optimize variables or decisions that are functions over continuous domains. So we have like a dynamic optimization problem, PD constrained, stochastic, or combinations of those things. InfiniteOpt is a great package to make that all possible. If you want to learn more, you can go to that QR code. We also had a nice long video on this last year at JumpDev if you want to get a more up-to-date overview. And with these infinite dimensional systems, they're typically more complicated models. So I mentioned CFD already. That's one example. For example, we get a very complicated model where maybe having machine learning can be a helpful way to mitigate that complexity. Okay, but currently, well, I guess until today with today's talk, there are no existing software tools to facilitate embedding these types of models in infinite dimensional optimization problems. There are many for finite dimensional, but none for infinite. Okay. So I want to talk about one motivating type of machine learning model in particular, which is nice, what I'm going to refer to as neural differential and algebraic equations, neural DAEs. So many engineering systems are dynamic. We care about how things go over time. Neural DAEs, I think, make a lot of sense because they kind of take that time structure from a differential equation and preserve it, and instead focus on learning the right-hand side or a portion of the right-hand side of your differential equations. Well, this makes a lot of sense because that tends to be less complex. So just think of a simple differential equation. So here, look at this right-hand side function. It's pretty simple. And if you get the analytic solution, it's quite a bit less simple. So you can imagine if you try to learn a neural network of that solution function, you're going to need quite a bit more complexity to capture that. Whereas if you just want your right-hand side, you can probably get away with a far less complex network because it's a much simpler function as you're preserving that time relationship. So this can possibly lead to a less complicated network, less overfitting, less required data because you have less parameters in that network to train. Okay. Also, if we're thinking in this infinite dimensional context, it's nice to have models that are discretization agnostic. So as we change the discretization, we don't have to retrain our model. So a nice thing about these models is they are discretization agnostic. So if we change our time steps, we don't have to retrain our network again, which is not true of a lot of autoregressive type architectures. Okay. The cost, however, is these can be difficult to train, especially as there are not as many good integrators for DAEs. So getting a way to systematically train these traditional machine learning models, methods tend to struggle in practice. So introducing InfiniteMathOptAI. This bridges InfiniteOpt and MathOptAI to embed machine learning models in InfiniteOpt. And it can take pretty much any model that MathOptAI supports and put it into InfiniteOpt. Opens the door for neural DAEs and also something called neural operators. Won't talk about that too much today, but it's a cool new direction. Maybe we'll talk about it more next year. But it also gives us a way to more stably train modest size neural DAEs as we can put these inside an infinite model. So for example, here for example, we have a flux neural network. I have my infinite model. We can put it in with this replace weights with variables function. That allows us to make our weights optimization variables, things that we can optimize. And then we can set up an objective like minimizing the sum of squared errors, and we can optimize this. And obviously this is being solved with like IP-ops. So you're not going to scale the same as stochastic gradient descent. But I would argue in a lot of practical engineering applications, we don't need networks with millions of parameters. Ones that are relatively small to modest size are typically good enough for what we want to accomplish. Okay. So how does this work exactly? So the basic idea is you convert your ODE or DAE into a system of algebraic equations. This is transcription, or in other words, discretization. And then we can solve it with a choice numerical method like orthogonal collocation or finite difference or something like that. Then we can solve it with, for example, a second order NLP solver, such as IP-opt, or now with MadNLP on GPU. There's some initial work on this that kind of showed it was a good idea, that they were able to more consistently train these because it was more numerically stable, especially if you had stiffness in your equations. And you can also add on hard constraints kind of for free. So physics informed, but you don't have to worry about tuning weights or anything like that. One of the big bottlenecks they had, though, was speed. And so one of the nice things recently is what I talked about last year with Infinite X models is we can solve these on GPU, which we have found increases the scalability of this approach quite a bit, even with the density that we get from the neural networks being in the Hessian. And so once it's trained, you can embed it just like you would normally with a jump model. So you just use this add predictor function from MathOptAI. I take my network here, just embed it in there, have my differential equation there for my neural DAE. And you can train that either from InfiniteOpt or externally, or sometimes you do both. You do a little bit of a few steps of stochastic gradient descent, then use InfiniteOpt. Solve it then like any InfiniteOpt model. We can discretize it any which way you want and solve it. And again, we have GPU acceleration, which we find makes these quite a bit more scalable. Okay, so just to kind of show this in action, we have a little bioreactor example. This is where a lot of my funding comes from nowadays, so here it is. So the basic idea is we have this bioreactor with a system of differential equations, and so it's got six states. We map it to some hidden layers to predict our output, and our output in this case is the production rate of cell biomass. This is something that we typically don't have good equations for, so we probably have a lot of data for it, but not equations, so we're going to use this neural network to capture that relationship in our model. So we have kind of a hybrid model here, giving us narrow DAE. So to train this, we did a few iterations first with stochastic gradient descent to get a nice initialization. And then we put this into InfiniteOpt, and as you can tell over validation, we do quite well in capturing the ground truth. So over 99% accurate. CPU training time on this relatively small example took 40 seconds, but with GPU it took 3 seconds. So you can imagine this is going to enable us to take on bigger models or larger data sets as we start to push this up. And we can probably do some more clever things with how we deal with the Hessian. So we can probably get the scaling to be even better. But this is results we got as of like a week ago, so relatively fresh. Okay. And then we then took that trained model and embedded it into an MPC problem. So here you can see it tracking the set point. We compared against what we call the ideal model, which was having the ground truth mechanistic equations for the cell production rate. In real life, we don't get to know that. But in both cases, you can see they're able to track the set point and be stable controllers. And to solve this in CPU, it took about 15 seconds per iteration, which was not fast enough for real time. Whereas on GPU, we solve in less than a second, which for us is fast enough to do it in real time control. Because on this, the time scale for this reactor is about 10 seconds or so fast enough for us. Okay, so what's next? We want to kind of better develop this functionality of a more formal toolbox so we can kind of do automate some of the tips and tricks to get these to converge more consistently and improving things such as better warm starts. We want to expand our support for surrogates that are infinite dimensional specific, such as neural operators. So I have a student working on that right now, which gives us a nice way to capture especially PDE type systems. And if you want to learn more, there's a QR code there. You can check it out. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.